Welcome back to Inside City Hall, where we have been closely following the race for the next Speaker of the City Council. The current Speaker, Adrienne Adams, is term limited and unable to seek re-election. Here is a look at the members who are currently in the running. It includes Crystal Hudson, Julie Menin, Christopher Marte, Selvena Brooks-Powers, and Amanda Farias. Yesterday, we spoke with Crystal Hudson about her vision for the role. Joining us now to talk about the race is another leading candidate, and that, of course, is Councilmember Julie Menin. Her district on the Upper East Side of Manhattan includes Roosevelt Island. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Thanks, Harold. Great to be here again.
So now, one of the jobs of the council speaker is to act as a check on the mayor, incoming Mayor Mamdani. How do you see that relationship shaping out?
So I've seen many mayoral and speaker relationships over the many years that I've been in and out of government, and it's very important that a mayor and a speaker work closely together. What we have now, Errol, is we see with the election of Mayor-elect Mamdani a real mandate for affordability, and that is something where there's alignment with the City Council. 2 years ago, the Council passed my 5 bills to mandate universal child care. Mayor Adams unfortunately did not implement them, but there's unbelievable alignment on universal child care. I know we can get there. There's also alignment on the issue of affordability. The city is simply unaffordable for the vast majority of New Yorkers. We have an obligation, a real duty to build more affordable housing, and so I know we'll seek alignment on that. And one of the things that I'd really like to see the council do is be less reactive, and by that I mean we react to ULURPs, but we're not proactive enough. I think that the council should be releasing an affordability plan in conjunction with the mayor, looking at the 1,000 city-owned sites, the DCAS, the city-owned properties that we own that are underutilized, vacant land, and repurpose them for affordable housing. So I'm very excited about the potential to do that.
When it comes to housing in particular, some of your colleagues, as you know, are not just reactive, but almost reactionary, meaning they're waiting to hear proposals so that they can kill them, and otherwise they don't really want to hear a lot of proposals. Things have shifted because of the outcome of the election with some of the ballot questions. How's that conversation going to go if you are the speaker?
Well, I think obviously you want to always consult with the local member because they know their community best, but then you have very important projects that have citywide implications. A great example of that, Errol, is a project that was in my district that my predecessor, Ben Kalos, tried to block, the Blood Center project. He tried to kill the project. The council overrode him because it was an important project. It had many benefits for the city. And that's the speaker's job, to be able to work with the member, but if the member is really not moving it forward, then work in consultation with the other members. But member deference is still important and very much top of mind because members do know their communities best.
Is that an example of what members said under the old system was that member deference is the leverage that we have to force conversations, community benefits agreements, and other sorts of reshaping of projects that would otherwise just steamroll through? How would you answer that?
We're still going to have a seat at the table. So despite the ballot proposals, the City Council is still a lead in this land use process. And what I mean by being reactive, again, we do wait till ULURPs come to us. Why? Why don't we go out and really canvass every site where we could build affordable housing? So I mentioned the 1,000 vacant DCAS buildings or lots. We also have 215 public library branches. Many of them are suitable to build affordable housing on top of, not all, but many are. And so we should be putting out a plan. Or looking, for example, at Governor's Island. I used to be on the board there. There's a residential deed restriction on Governor's Island that allows no residential development. Let's look at lifting that residential deed restriction and building affordable housing there. So I think we need to take an outside-of-the-box approach, use all the tools in our toolbox, work very closely with our mayor-elect, and really advance a true affordable housing agenda for New York City.
In addition to the very practical side, these issues of affordability, there's the symbolic and representational and empowerment side of all of New York politics. And it's noteworthy that if you were elected speaker, you'd actually make history. You'd be the council's first Jewish speaker. And incidentally, we would then have a Muslim mayor and a Catholic governor. And, is that important? Talk a little bit about that.
I think it really is important, Errol, because yes, I would be the first Jewish speaker. I'm the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. My mother and grandmother survived the Holocaust in Hungary. My grandfather and our other relatives were killed in the Holocaust. I think it's time to bring the city together. The city is very divided. It's so exciting that the city elected the first Muslim mayor and Mayor-elect Mamdani. That is history. We could also elect the first Jewish speaker. When I chaired Community Board 1 in Lower Manhattan for 7 years after 9/11, I stood up for the Islamic Cultural Center and Mosque. I wrote the resolution to get that project through our community board. I had death threats for 1 year over that, but I stood up and said freedom of religion is of paramount importance. It's what our country was built on. And so I'm so proud that I stood up for the Islamic Cultural Center and Mosque. It was very controversial at the time. We got it through our community board, but that's about bringing the city together. And right now, a study showed that 34% of young people in New York City believe the Holocaust is a myth or exaggerated, 34%. So last year, I launched a project at the Museum of Jewish Heritage that brings every public school 8th grade student to the museum to visit the Holocaust exhibition, to learn about that. We need to bring communities together, and perhaps the best example of that is a high schooler in my district who came to me shortly after October 7th, a Muslim student, and she had a best friend who was a Jewish student, and they founded a club together, a Muslim and Jewish club. That's what we need to do more of in the city. We can absolutely work together to really bring our city once and for all together on these issues.
We in the media probably are not helping to a certain extent, but there certainly are a lot of people who demonstrate and who, sort of are not just uninterested in Zionism, but are actually actively anti-Zionist and say that certain projects like the deal between Cornell and Technion is something that should be undone, or there are issues about, I saw a demonstration with some of your colleagues around Israel bonds and so forth. Do we need maybe a little strategic silence on this? Because when asked about it, the mayor-elect tends to say, let's talk about my agenda. Let's not talk about anything else. How would you'd have to manage a lot of these conversations?
Well, first of all, on the issue of Israel bonds, I think Comptroller Tom DiNapoli says it best. He's investing over $340 million in Israel bonds. It's a really good return on investment. So I think you've got to also look at it in that way. Cornell Technion is actually in my district in Roosevelt Island. It's created thousands and thousands of tech jobs. And I was just there last month. They've created hundreds of new tech companies, innovative tech companies that are now housed in New York City, that are really the future of our great city. So I think, look, we need to really try to come together on these issues, and I think it's absolutely possible to do so.
Okay. When it comes to the doings of all of this stuff, you've got to line up stuff, and everybody is watching everybody else's parties and different kind of conversations that are going on. Is it fair to say that you have lined up the support of Representatives Gregory Meeks and Adriano Espaillat?
So I am so honored to have their support. We have built an unbelievably diverse coalition of support, and I'm honored to have the Queens County Chairman, Congressmember Gregory Meeks' support, and Congressmember Adriano Espaillat's support, as well as many labor unions, and most importantly, the members. This is a member-driven process. Members speak to their county leaders about who they would like to see as the next speaker. Members speak to labor unions. It's a very member-driven process. And at the end of the day, I hope to earn the support of my colleagues to be the next speaker.
Okay, and what does the politicking of that kind look like? I mean, I know this is between you all, but
it's very interesting because
a lot of dinners,
when
a lot
I
of breakfast.
tell outsiders, well, what does the speaker's race look like? It's really obviously the vote of the 51 members. So it's conversations. But look, we've worked together, except for the new members. We've worked together for the last 4 years. We know each other very, very well. And so I have managed 3 city agencies as commissioner. I've served as the commissioner of the Department of Consumer Affairs. I served as the census director, where we finished #1 of all cities across the country. And I served in a senior role at the city law department, where we sued the Trump administration with our great New York Attorney General at the U.S. Supreme Court and won that case. So I want to bring that experience to bear, and I look forward to continuing to have conversations with my colleagues.
Okay, we will let you get back to it. Thanks so much for coming by. Good luck.
Thanks so much.